My name is Teacher Shelly, and I'm going to be reading you a story today. If you want to know more about our story, you can watch the lesson intro video. And what we're talking about is the story about Peter denying Jesus 3 times. And it's from Luke 22, so if you want to read in your own Bibles, that's a really great way to read even more before this story and after this story. But today we're just going to read the part about Peter denying Jesus. And a little bit of information for you, if you don't know who Peter is Peter is one of Jesus' disciples, and he was one of his closest friends. He had a few that he kept close with him for the years that he was in ministry, and Peter was one of them. He was very close to Jesus, and it's a very unique story and something that we can all relate to. So I'm going to start reading it now. Peter denies Jesus, from Luke 22. Soldiers dragged Jesus through the streets to Jerusalem's leaders. "Are you the Son of God?" they asked. "I am," Jesus said. "Liar," they shouted. "How dare you disrespect God by saying you're his son?" Soldiers whipped him, beat him, spit on him. They made him wear a purple robe and a crown of sharp thorns, and they made fun of him. "Now you look like the King of the Jews," they laughed. But Jesus hadn't done anything wrong, and he knew it. This was a part of God's plan. I'm sure you guys before have had experiences where someone's made fun of you and you haven't done anything wrong, and you see the way Jesus responded was by just loving them back, which is so amazing. When the soldiers came, some of Jesus' disciples were afraid and ran away. Others, like Peter, hung around to hear what was happening. Peter was warming himself by a fire when a servant girl asked him, "Aren't you one of those guys who was with Jesus?" "No," Peter said, "it wasn't me." Another girl asked, "Are you sure? You look like him." "It wasn't me," Peter said. More people came up to Peter. "We're sure you're the guy that was with Jesus." "I don't know Jesus," Peter lied. "I've never known Jesus." Then the rooster crowed, "Caw-caw," and Peter ran away and cried and cried. That is so sad, you guys. Peter was one of Jesus' best friends, and in that moment he was so afraid. And to understand the context, they were going to kill Jesus for saying that he was the Son of God, which was the truth. And so even the truth was getting them in trouble at that time. So Peter was really afraid, probably because he might have had a family. He was thinking about his own safety. And so even in moments where you're really afraid, sometimes there's a temptation to not tell the truth. And that's what Peter did to protect himself. But the most beautiful thing about this story is that before this happened, when Jesus and Peter were together with all the disciples, Jesus said to Peter, "Before the rooster crows 3 times, you will deny me." And so Jesus already knew that Peter was going to make this mistake. And he already told him, "I know that you're going to do this." And Peter didn't understand because he could never imagine betraying Jesus like that. But sometimes we do things that we don't imagine we're going to do. And so it's the most special thing about Jesus is that he already knows what we're going to do. He knows our past. He knows how we're going to respond in the future. And he is already forgiven us. And he's always willing to extend forgiveness again. And the craziest thing about this is that even though Peter made this mistake, he denied Jesus. He said, "I didn't even know him." And Jesus still chose Peter to be the foundation of the church. So he created the entire church around his friend Peter as the leader when he left. And he did all of that even though Peter made this huge mistake. So I feel like it's really encouraging to us because no matter how big of a mistake we make, Jesus already knew that we were going to do it, already has forgiven us for it. and is still planning our future and is still choosing us for what He has. And His plans are so much bigger than anything we can do to mess it up.